Okay, so today we're going to talk about a build that I've been liking quite a bit. It's, I call it the Stygian Zinogre build. And why this build is really good and fun is simply because of two main things. Now, let's just get to like somewhere like a wall or something. Right, so let's just look here at the skills, equipment info. So as you can see, I got a burst cannon. I'm rocking the Stygian Zinogre helmet, all beta, with the Safi Jiva chest, Zinogre, and that's actually normal Zinogre braces, Safi Jiva belt, and its boots. And for this build, I just put a special shot there to help out with getting special boost. You can use any mantle you want. The main purpose of this build is to focus on Wyvern Heart. Now, Wyvern Heart, the great thing about it and why it works very well with this build is because, and I'll show you, and kind of to maybe just explain this a little more. So, Zinogre's essence raises the maximum level of latent power. So, because of that, I focus on that. So, I have latent power 7, and I have latent power actually as a modification on my weapon that I added. You want to get resentment 5. You don't necessarily need health boost 3, but I find that, you know, a nice little tidbit to have there. Recovery up, I would say, is a must. For this build, you want, well, you naturally get evade window, and you don't necessarily need recovery speed. I always find it a great thing to have. Doesn't necessarily help with Safi Jiva, but it does help with if you have health augment on your weapon per se, right? I actually only go crit boost 2 and weakness exploit 2, but I got a special ammo boost from my charm, and these are some other things that just come with the build. Okay, so I just want to show you my weapon. So as you can see on the weapon there, if you look at the awakened abilities, it's actually, I got Zinogre Essence, but if you can see, it's just pure attack. The weapon itself is a close ranged burst cannon as well, so you see 4 close range ups with Wyvern Heart mod. And then again, we're focusing on the Wyvern Heart here. So I kind of just want to go and show you some numbers, okay? So let's pull out the Wyvern Heart. Now, this is why this works out so great. So as you can see, my actual attack is 465, right? And that alone is already pretty high with a 25% affinity. Now, I do have weakness exploit too. So let's just see this right here. So Wyvern Heart, right? We're gonna load a full clip. Now watch this here. Now, as you're unloading, the damage is actually increasing quite a bit. You do have resentment, and you self-activate latent power while simultaneously activating Safi Jiva. So you constantly are proccing that Safi Jiva, right? Even if I'm normally shooting, right? I got recovery up, right? So although resentment doesn't occur all the time, it does help because you don't necessarily always have full health, but you will always have red health, right? Just how Safi Jiva works. Now, this little totem is kind of, you know, I do a lot of damage to this thing, but depending on the monster you're actually fighting, you're not going to heal every single normal shot too, right? But it looks almost as if every single 100 damage I'm actually healing, right? Now, let's try to use something a little weaker, maybe normal ammo 1. So you see normal ammo 1, right? I've actually procced latent power, and especially if I'm fighting, shooting a weak spot, my affinity is actually increased a little bit there because of weakness exploit, right? So I am usually getting that 100%, just not necessarily um, if I'm not attacking. So as long as you're attacking, you could get that 100% or even higher. But also, as you can see, my red health is there, which there, as you can see, my attack is actually hitting over 500. Now, when I'm doing Wyvern Hearts, it's 500 at least, right? And that's not pertaining to any other buff, especially because I can raise the damage. I'm actually hitting very high numbers. So on any monster that's not Safi Jiva, you are able to do quite a bit of damage, especially if you're not, um, you know, Safi Jiva has so many weak points, but other monsters, you can hit them pretty hard, especially if you got stunned, you're mounted and such, right? So that's mainly what I wanted to show and the purpose of this build, right? So I would call this a Wyvern Heart, Stygian, Sinogre, Safi, Jiva build, right? And it's very simple, right? All it really is you want to use the Stygian helmet and a brace, and you want to use because you want to try getting the free critical boost and large latent power um, points from Zinogre gear, right? And your burst cannon, you may not agree on the close range ups, but when you're able to get that close, things like deviation don't really matter as much if you're this close, and that damage multiplier increases quite a bit, right? So being able to proc all those things allows you to hit over 500. If you're buffed, you are getting even higher than 500. So I would recommend doing it this way, right? Um, so, and that's basically it. Happy hunting.